Hello, world, and welcome to another episode of Big Rocks Slam into Mars. Space rocks slam into Mars, forming a crater. Something violent shook the surface of Mars. It came from space. NASA space probe document big impacts on Mars. NASA image shows a meteor crashed into Mars. Meteors slamming into Mars. Caught by InSight reveals secret of Martian interior. The article we are reading today is As InSight landers near end, NASA details meteor strike on Mars. The InSight lander, perched on the surface of Mars since 2018, will run out of power and stop operations within 4 to 8 weeks. NASA stated Thursday, even as scientists detail a big meteor strike, it detected that gouged, boulder-sized chunks of ice surprisingly close to the planet's equator. Dust has been accumulating on the solar panels that drew power from the U.S. Space Agency stationary lander, exacerbated by the dust storms, and has been depleting its batteries, planetary geophysicist Bruce Banner of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Banner stated InSight mission, which helped reveal the internal structure of Mars and its seismic activity, originally was planned for 2 years, but was extended to 4, or when the power runs out, because NASA will eventually lose contact with InSight. Banner also stated InSight has been successful beyond his expectations, and they have determined the thickness of crust, the size and density of the core, and the details of the structure of the mantle. For the first time, they have a detailed global map of the deep interior of another planet other than Earth and the Moon. 2 research papers in the journal Science detailed meteor strikes on the Martian surface detected by InSight in September and December of last year. Seismic waves triggered the impacts revealed fresh detail about the structure of the Martian crust, the planet's outer layer. Lori Glaze, director of NASA's Planetary Science Division, stated, "What an awesome capstone science to result to an end on. Literally going out with a bang." On particular interest, the space rock was a space rock with a diameter estimated at 16 to 39 feet, 5 to 12 meters, that crashed last December 24th in a region called Amazonas Planetea, if I said that right, carving a crater about 490 feet, which is 150 meters wide, and 70 feet, which is 21 meters deep. It caused a magnitude 4 quake detected by InSight seismometer instrument, while cameras aboard the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter observed the crater from space. A boulder-sized block of ice were seen strewed around the crater's rim. Objects that large enter Earth's atmosphere about once a year, but generally burns up in our planet's thicker atmosphere. Ingrid Darber stated a whole lot of water ice was exposed by this impact, and that was surprising because this is the warmest spot on Mars, the closest to the equator with seen water ice. Glaze stated that while the ice is known to exist near the Martian's pole, future human exploration missions would aim to put astronauts as close to the equator as possible for warmer conditions. Ice near the equator could provide resources such as drinking water and rocket propellant. Having access to ice at these lower latitudes, that ice could be converted into water, oxygen, or hydrogen that could really be useful. The September 2021 crater was large, about 425 feet, 130 meters wide. The two were the largest impacts detected by InSight since arriving on Mars. InSight for the first time detected seismic waves traveling like ripples on water along the Martian surface, as opposed to deeper in the planet's body. The reverberation from the two, I'm gonna say that one more time. The reverberation from the two impacts gave clues about the crust over the wide geographic expanse in the northern hemisphere. The three-leg InSight sits in a vast and relatively flat plain called the Elysia Planitia, if I said that correctly, just north of the equator. Until now, InSight had obtained data on the structure of the Martian crust, consisting mostly of fine-grained volcanic basalt rock, only in the area beneath the landing site. The crust at the landing site was composed of relatively soft material, less dense rock. This was not the case for the other regions covered by the new data, where the crust appeared denser. As a consequence of our analysis of surface waves, we now understand that the crust of Mars' north equatorial dichotomy, a conspicuous feature seen from the topography variations on Mars that divides the southern highlands and northern lowlands, has a relatively uniform structure, stated Do-Young Kim. Tell me guys, what do you think about this? Interesting news, especially finding out if there's water on Mars. So let me know guys what you think. Leave a comment if you have an opinion.